Welcome to episode 227 of the AHRC Marathon Training Vlog. And this is the 2023 CIM race recap. Let's go. MK here with all my AHRC friends and family, with Johan, Anita, Evan, Cole, and Haven. What a great morning to get a recovery run in with some strides up the hill. Real short, just 50 meters today. It's already Thursday. It's been several days since we came back from CIM. I don't know, does it feel like yesterday or feel like ages to you guys?
Feels like 2 years ago.
Feels like ages. Yeah, I get it. But we're gonna try hard to, we should have done this really right after the marathon race when everything's fresh in our minds, but I was so deathly ill. We'll talk about that in a bit. But man, it took me a few days to get my wits about me and get caught up on stuff. First of all, I want to say, Cole and Evan, super proud of you too. Did a marvelous job. Hey guys, just overall in general, what do you guys think about this trip?
I think it was a really good trip. It was really fun. And
Yeah, super fun time.
Yep.
And you had a good race, huh?
Yep.
Okay, all right. It's like, I think we're really kind of fortunate to not only have a good trip, but to also have a good race. So I think stars aligned for you guys for this one. Evan, you probably have to say that this is probably one of the best marathon weekends that you ever had, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're gonna try to break it down for you guys on the reasons why this trip was so successful for us. We had a super nice send-off from our friend Anita. Anita and Father Daniel came out and for a Friday early shakeout, and it made the beginning of that road trip so positive, and just to have those great feelings, meeting up with friends, talking about expectations and reminiscing about training. It was a really good way to start the weekend and get the positive energy flowing. So really grateful to have friends like that come out so early in the morning for us and run with us. Haven was there as well and really set the tone in a positive way. How'd the road trip go for you? It was like, what, 6.5 hours?
Yeah, it was like 6.5 hours. It was really good. I didn't have any motion sickness and I didn't take medicine, so I was pretty happy about that.
That's good, that's good. I think that was one area that Cole was a little bit stressed about, but we were able to get through that smoothly, avoid all traffic. We left Orange County at around just before 10 o'clock, and then we never hit LA traffic. We avoided all that, and then we were able to take I-5 all the way up to Sacramento without a hitch, so that was awesome. We packed up most of our stuff in the car for meals, and we ate in the car. Was that okay with you, Evan?
Yes, it was delicious.
Okay, good. And we arrived pretty early, around 5 o'clock in Sacramento, and we went directly to the convention center and for the expo. And I was expecting maybe possibly like a last surge of people trying to make it before the expo closed at 7 o'clock, but I was pleasantly surprised to see that the expo was pretty empty. It was pretty much a ghost town compared to how the expo is on Saturday morning. Now, I've been to the expo on Saturday afternoon. I went there last year, Saturday afternoon after my flight arrived, and wow, it was crazy how many people were in there. But the good thing about CIM is they got it down. They're very efficient. They've been doing it for how many years now?
About 40 years.
About 40, exactly 40 years. This is the 40th anniversary. So they had done it 39 times before this, and they know how to operate. So even though the convention center was jam-packed, they had really well-organized queues that kept moving, just enough tables with volunteers to keep the registration process going. It was awesome. And without the crowd, it was even smoother. We were in and out of there in a matter of minutes. We were able to take pictures and a little video of all the things that we want to see. Not so interested in the merch over there, but they had some stuff they had a small ASICS shop and some other things, but we weren't too interested, so we didn't stay for that. We were focused on getting back to the hotel and having dinner and relaxing, getting our feet up. This was the first time that we had ever gone to a marathon destination 2 days in advance. So we were really looking forward to the idea of not traveling on the day before the race. So Saturday morning rolls around, and for the first time this entire year, it's not even Christmas, and Evan's already awake. She wakes up first. She's ready to go. She's like, were you pumped up?
Yes.
You're super excited about the shakeout run, huh? Excited to meet our friends. We had some local friends that were going to be at CIM, and we also had some internet friends that we had arranged to meet up with. So we got ready. The weather was perfect. It had rained the night before, right?
Yep.
But we were scared that it was going to rain on us, but we got outside and the weather was perfect. It was nice and cool.
Yeah.
And we went to the shakeout. We went to the BPN sponsored official CIM shakeout. And there were, this is literal, this is not hyperbole, there were over 1,000 people there. I'm not using 1,000 in connotative terms. Denotatively, there must have been over 1,000 people. It was a lot of people. We overtook the crowd of the streets, completely filled open public streets with runners, and it wasn't even sectioned off. There must have been so many Sydney ordinance violations going on that day, but the people of Sacramento were super generous. All the drivers had a smile on their face, waving as they were waiting for hundreds of people to walk through this, or walk, jog, and run through the streets. So the official CIM shakeout run that was sponsored by BPN had the BPN sponsored athletes that were there. I think like some YouTube run vloggers, like Caitlin, somebody, I forgot her name, and Eric Floberg and his buddy, and some other folks were there. I also saw Tony Macias and his wife, Nadia Ruiz, and got to say hello since they were local people from Orange County. And my friend John Tynan and I, we planned to meet up, and we saw other AHRC members like Alvin and Aaron, and it was good to see familiar faces in Sacramento and get a little bit of comfort in what could have been a little bit of a stressful situation. And the highlight was just running through Sacramento in that mob of a shakeout run crew. And another highlight was getting to meet Eric for the first time, huh?
Yeah.
It was awesome. That was awesome. So generous and kind, and all of the friendship that Eric has shown to all of us online, he demonstrated that 10 times more in real life. So really appreciated that kind of genuineness and sincerity, and really appreciate that friendship. Thanks, Eric, a ton.
Hey, nice to meet you. Oh, man, I love internet friends in real life. This is so fun. How you guys doing?
Good, good, good.
Oh man, it's so weird to see you in real
I know,
life.
right? So after the shakeout run, we did our customary pre-race lunch. So the day before, we always have the same lunch, or the day before a race, we always have the same lunch. What do we have for lunch, Evan?
Pho.
Yeah, we use the salty broth to load up on sodium and hydrate, and the rice noodles make for really good carb loading for the day before. So what did you think about that pho lunch at Sacramento?
It wasn't super good.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't that great. Yeah, the restaurant was. There was actually a better rated restaurant, but we chose to go to the one closer to the hotel, thinking that, you know, how bad can anybody mess up pho? But that was pretty messed up, huh?
Yeah.
I think I might have contributed to my sickness a little bit, but yeah, it was a little bit of a miss. So after some not so great pho, we went back to the hotel room, and I worked on some videos. And what'd you do in the hotel room, Evan?
Did some homework.
Yeah, I think Cole did some homework as well, and we relaxed until about 2:30 or 3 o'clock, and we went out to grab some rice bowls from Chipotle. We just got veggie bowls. We got veggie bowls with white rice and fajita veggies and the pico de gallo mild salsa and some guacamole. And it was really satisfying, right? It was a good little carb heavy bowl with just a little bit of fiber in there, and I think it was really satisfying. We had early dinner. The general rule for us is to eat at least 12 hours before we have to leave for the marathon. So we wanted to finish everything. We didn't want to eat any more solid food before 5 o'clock in the morning because we had to catch the shuttle at 5:30 the next day. So I had some rice bowls, and then for the rest of the day, or the rest of the evening, or afternoon, evening, we just relaxed. It was good. We just watched some TV. We never watch TV. We don't have TV at home, so we got a chance to watch some Food Network and things like that. So that's always fun. You know you have a running family when everybody's favorite channel is the Food Network. After we hung out watching some TV, what time did we end up going to bed?
We went to bed at around 7:30.
Yeah, we hit the hay pretty early. Cole, how much time do you need to get ready in the morning?
2 hours, 2 hours to 2.5 hours.
Oh, that's a long time. I guess what are you trying to accomplish in the morning?
Just like use the restroom fully and make sure I'm fully awake before leaving for the run.
So that night we go to bed around 7:30 and feeling pretty good, like pretty relaxed, very, very little stress. It was the first time we were at the race venue 2 days before, and we get a chance to like not have a travel day the day before. And so we were pretty stoked and on like very high spirits, and yeah, like couldn't have asked for a better day and a half before the race. And then at around 10:45 or almost 11 o'clock, I wake up with just this terrible feeling. The room was spinning, and I barely made it in time to the restroom, and it was just a volcano of vomit. I was having the worst time. At the moment, I was thinking like, what is happening to you? I had no idea what was going on. All I could think of was like, I need to like fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow I need to get better and be ready at 4 o'clock. I need to be better by 4 o'clock, and that gives me 5 hours to get ready. So I jumped in the tub. I tried to like sweat it out, like whatever I could do. but it was getting worse and worse. I was getting queasier and dizzier and a bigger headache, and everything was just like compounding and getting worse. And so I battled that pretty much, didn't sleep, and battled that pretty much until 4 a.m. And around 3:30, that's when I met Cole, and he told me that he was going to go get ready. And I think I realized at that point I had to come up with some kind of contingency plan to get the kids out to the start line, and for me to just kind of bag it. I think, that was a hard realization. But at the moment, I was in such misery that it was hard to feel bad about not being able to make the race. But just, I was just feeling bad, period. And I just didn't want to be sick anymore. It was a moment of extreme desperation on my part. Cole got ready. I gave Cole some instructions. Told you to take Evan to the shuttle and meet Uncle Max, right? And we woke up early in the morning. I gave Cole some instructions, and I also gave Evan some instructions on how to navigate through to the start line and how to get home from the finish line and things like that. So kids were off. They left at about 4:50 in the morning to meet with Uncle Max at the shuttles. They were to board the shuttles at 5 a.m. and shuttles were easy to find. We were at the Hilton Arden West, a designated CIM hotel that had direct transportation to the start line. If you did not stay at a CIM designated hotel, then you could get some kind of accommodation, and that's near the finish line. And you can take the shuttles from the finish line to the start line. And there are also other points that you can board that are listed on the CIM website. But we were fortunate enough to stay at the Hilton Arden West, and they just walked out to the front gate of the parking lot, and the shuttles were visible from there on Harvard Street. And they got on. They found Uncle Max. He didn't believe the kids that I was sick. I typically play gags on my friends and do corny dad jokes, but unfortunately this was not a joke, and he realized that once they started taking off and I was not on the bus. But the bus ride is just a 30-minute ride to Folsom, and Cole had on 3 throwaway t-shirts. He just uses some old those free t-shirts that they give away at like 5K races and things like that. Usually we end up not wearing them, and they just sit in his dresser drawer or closet. So he just like stacked them on. Like he just put on 3 t-shirts and kept his core warm, and that did the trick. The buses were warm as it was. Evan was full on decked out in tights, in an upper layer, and then a heavy winter style coat because she gets cold pretty easily. But she was pretty comfortable as well. But they got on the bus and stayed warm on the bus for the 30-minute ride, arrived at Folsom, and Cole and Evan went to use the restroom as soon as they arrived. And just a veteran's hack, they have hundreds of porta potties at the CIM, at California International Marathon. It's incredible. It's a sight to see. It's like visiting Vegas in the 1990s and early 2000s when everything was just all lit up and sparkling and gaudy and just like mesmerizing. It's mesmerizing how many porta potties are in this at the starting line. It's incredible. And so a hack is don't go and line up at the porta potties.
if you just walk far enough, or if you go out for a warm-up jog, you will eventually get to a porta potty that is available, or even if you go far enough, one that has not been used yet. So hack is just keep going. I mean, it's an endless line of porta potties, and then eventually you'll see nobody waiting in front of them, and then you just take a look at the doors and see which ones are green, and then pull on the one that you feel like is available or clean. Okay, so another perk of the California International Marathon is you get to stay on the bus. So you got to remember your bus number and remember where your bus kind of was, like in the line. They're like this tremendous line of school buses that are going to line up near the start line. And there should be like 3 or 4 rows of these long lines of buses. Just remember which row you're in and whereabouts you are, and then remember your bus number. And then you can go back to your bus, and if you have a friend or another person watch over the stuff that's already on the bus, then you can go find your bus and go back to your belongings. So they went back. Uncle Max was waiting for them on the bus, and you can stay warm pretty much up until the gun. So I gave specific instructions to Cole and Evan to wait until 20 minutes before gun time and stay on the bus and stay warm. And then Evan, I believe that the weather was pretty good this year. Cole went out to the starting chute, into the starting corral, and didn't even wear his throwaway t-shirts. He took them off, and he said he was fine. And Evan also, I gave her specific instructions to leave her, take everything off, but leave her coat on so that she could just take it off and throw it over to the side at the beginning of the race. But she said that she had it off too in the corral, and she was fine. So I think that the weather was pretty nice to the kids this morning, or in the morning of the race. You know, it's a catch-22, because if it's cold enough where you'd be shivering, then you're wasting energy shivering. And so you want to be bundled up so you're not shivering. But then if it's cool but not so cold that you need to bundle up, then the start of the race is going to be kind of hard and you'll be sweating. So it's kind of better to be cold in the corral and have like the necessary blanket, space blanket, or necessary jacket or throwaway clothing. But yeah, it's a catch-22. But the weather was decent. It was above average. I would say it could have been a few degrees cooler. It would have helped out a lot as far as saving with regards to bodily fluids and not having to sweat as much. But that's the thing about CIM. It's a bit, it's Northern California weather. It's Northern California. You cannot predict what's going to happen at CIM. One year it was 80 degrees and people were dying and just like were getting dehydrated and passing out at the finish line. And then another year there's like sideways rain. The wind is so strong when it does rain, it doesn't just drizzle. It comes to the like directly in your face. And I heard that there was like complete headwinds and just getting blasted by water and rain droplets the entire race. And then one year it's like super cold, and one year so you just can't predict what's going to happen at CIM. That's an unpredictable thing. But if the weather conditions are good, then you're setting yourself up for a very good race result. So that's the kind of the good and the bad of CIM weather. The race started about 12 minutes late. Usually CIM is pretty on the dot. The year that I ran last year, they started right at 7 o'clock on the dot. But this year there were some problems with some of the shuttle buses. So the CIM, the California International Marathon, is a net downhill course, but it does have some elevation gain. And it ends up amassing to about 600 feet of total elevation gained. So that means that there are ups and downs. There are rollers. Now, There are so many mixed responses to the CIM course, as far as course difficulty, as far as how much help that you get from the downhills, and how flat or not flat it is. And so I got nothing but mixed reaction from Cole and Evan as well. Evan felt like it was a very hilly course. She reacted to every little bump. Every time there was any kind of incline, even if you could see the apex of the hill, even if you could understand that it was only maybe like a 20-second incline or a 30-second incline or a less than 60-second incline, her breathing would change on the incline, like almost automatically. It's before her heart rate would elevate, she would exert herself. And that's more of a kind of a mental thing. Cole, on the other hand, would look at the hill and say like, oh my God, that's not a hill. That's like just a little bump. That's something that's even smaller and shorter than what we do on our long runs at home. And he just cruised through it. He noticed every time there was a little bump that he would lose people. Like people would just fall away from him, like fall back behind him. And he made a special note that whenever he came to those instances on slight hills or slight inclines or slight little bumps in the road, that he would just maintain, just keep cruising at like 705 pace, 704 pace, and people would just drop off like it's like they were moving backwards. So he felt like the inclines or the hills were something that people were not prepared for, and they were kind of mentally struck down whenever they would encounter those. And so he had to do a lot of helping as far as Evan to get her through those moments, to ask her to calm down her breathing, to remind her that, oh, the hill's almost over, or this is nothing compared to Jeffrey Trail, the course that we normally run on long runs, or I'm sure that people who watch the vlog understand the infamous Hicks Canyon Trail that we train on, and is nothing like that, where you have a 1.5 miles of just continuous incline. It's nothing like that. So Cole thought that, he was enjoying it. He viewed it as generally flat because there was so much ups, but so much downs that equaled or surpassed the ups. And he felt like it was easy to maintain a steady pace throughout the entire course. So I have to agree with Cole. Like, if you do your training right, if you do all of your training on the track or all of your training on pancake, flat, small loops, then you're not going to be ready for CIM. If you do normal running, if you go out on normal routes, even if you don't search for the hardest hills to train on, you're going to be okay, because there's going to be some undulation, and there is undulation at CIM, but it's just more favorable because there's a lot less ups than there are downs. So I hope you take it for what it is. If you train right, it's going to feel super flat and fast. If you train minimally and you're hoping to take advantage of net elevation loss with less than adequate training, then forget about it. There's no such thing. I don't think there's any such thing in the marathon distance. I think the marathon distance requires respect, and even if there is a downhill course, you need to train for it so that at least you can finish that course healthy, that you don't just trash your legs, you don't trash your quads, you don't trash your joints, your ankles and your knees, and then you don't end up getting hurt for months and not being able to train for months and only be able to run for half the year just because you waste yourself on running too fast on a marathon course. So please, please, please don't try to cheat the course. Respect the marathon. Train for a full marathon as if you're running on a flat marathon course, and protect yourself, and you'll be fine, and you'll do just like how well Cole and Evan did, and be able to enjoy many more races right afterwards. But Cole was able to just kind of steamroll through that entire course. The first half of the course are considered rollers, like lots of rollers. It's a lot of net downhill, but that means there's a lot of also ups that go with it, because you have to account for the 600 feet of net elevation gain. So most of that happens at the front end of the course. So even though there's a lot of elevation loss in the first 13 miles, a lot of people take it conservatively because there's so much gain in that first 13 miles as well. So you have to view it as kind of flat. And I think that was a really smart play by Cole and Evan to go out at around 7:05 pace, which for them is steady state. It's a little bit faster than easy pace and a lot slower. It's about 15 seconds slower than marathon pace for them. So they're just kind of like in the middle and just kind of cruising. And so they had a really easy time getting through the first 13 miles. And then the second half of the race is where it really starts. So in the second half, it flattens out a lot. There aren't as many rollers, and this is the part where you're supposed to kind of turn it on. But it also comes with the second half fatigue of a marathon, and it's really hard to turn it on, especially after 13 miles of running at a faster than normal pace. So yeah, it's a tough second half, I have to say. It flattens out, and you should kind of have that kind of confidence that there aren't going to be as many rollers anymore. There's one more small hill at mile 20 when you have 10K to go across the bridge. But that one is, if you're prepared and you've done the training, then you'll get to that point and you'll be kind of motivated, because they decorate the bridge with like signs like 10K to go, and this is where the race starts, and this is where everybody gets pumped up, and then you're supposed to accelerate from there to the finish line. And there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of other participants who are starting their acceleration at that point. So that shouldn't be too much of a problem, that little hill there. So you get over that small little hill that goes up over the bridge, and then you just coast all the way to the finish line, and it's pretty much flat. The only kind of danger thing in the last several miles is once you get into town, into Sacramento, and the surface is a bit uneven. And Cole made special note of this, that kind of like it's not really cobblestone, but just like the separation of the pieces of the surface, of the road surface in the city, and just the trolley tracks and the cracks in the road. And it's just a really, really uneven surface. And he made note that he was in the last 2 or 3 miles when his legs were starting to feel it. Like, you get that twinge, like maybe I might cramp up, maybe if I just step the wrong way. And he was nervous about stepping the wrong way on this uneven surface. And it made it a little bit kind of precarious for him as he's trying to get to the finish line like super quick and fast. And it kind of discouraged him to pick it up a little bit, to pick up the speed. Okay, so Cole cruised on and was able to keep a pretty even pace. He slowed down just a little bit in the 24th and 25th mile, but picked it back up and really pushed forward in the 26th mile, and was able to just pretty much even split the first half and the second half of the marathon to finish in 3:05 and some change. Really proud of him. Doing it all by himself, being responsible for Evan in the first half, trying to coax her on and bring her home to the finish line, but staying calm, staying composed, and just really just crushing it. He just crushed it. Evan did really well as well. went through the half with Cole and Uncle Max Max. They all worked as a group. There were, I believe that my friend John Tynan was supposed to try to meet up and go with them, but I think that it was a little too hot for him for the beginning of the race. I know that John likes to start out marathons kind of easy and then kind of work his way up. And so his plan was to reel everybody in as they approached the second half of the marathon. But I think that at around 15 miles, because I had told Cole to use a strategy where he takes it easy in the first half and goes steady state, and then kind of pick it up and try to go marathon pace in the second half, especially if he has built up some momentum. And at around mile 15, I think that Cole decided to kind of not really consciously increase the pace, but just kind of go with the flow, kind of go with it, like let himself kind of get faster if it felt good. And I think he went a little bit fast, maybe like just under 7-minute pace. And that's when Uncle Max Max said, oh, hey, you're a little hot. Like, you slow it down kind of thing. And then I think from there, I feel like that's where kind of some negative thoughts were seeping into Evan's mind. I think she was thinking like, oh, this can be too fast, or I can't run this fast. Like things like sentences like that, where not comes into play or no comes into play. And I think this is when everything kind of, it was like the perfect combination of reasons to slow down. And Uncle Max Max was starting to feel it and starting to hurt a little bit, and he wanted to slow down. And I think at that point, Evan needed to make a decision on whether she was kind of going to go with Cole or hang back with Uncle Max Max. And I think mentally, I think physically, she's stronger than Cole. Like, I know that like she's been going out on long run workouts where she just completely crushes. And I know that her kind of strong suit is not hills. Like, she always gets dropped on hills, but then she always comes back and calls her way back without me having to slow down for her. And she'll, on the other side, on the downhill, she'll increase her pace to get back to the group. So I think where she kind of lacks in on the inclines, she has mental toughness to kind of even things out overall. So, or on a course overall. So I really feel like she's even stronger than Cole. But mentally, she's still 11 years old, and she can't have that kind of mental fortitude or experience or wisdom or kind of the number of reps that older people have to know that, hey, this isn't going to be that bad, or I've done this many times, like hundreds of times, and this is just another one of those times. Every single hardship time for her is a new hardship time. And so it's a big battle. And I totally sympathize with that. And so when she came down to that very hard decision, she, of course, chose, I'm going to hang back with Uncle Max Max. From about mile 15, they decreased their pace. I could see it on the tracker while I was in bed, following them on the tracker from the hotel. But they decreased their pace a bit, and she went down just a few seconds slower than Cole from mile 15. And then Cole started gapping them. But I also noticed that after a while, she got gapped by Cole, but that gap stayed the same for many miles. I think from 15 to 20, that gap pretty much stayed the same. So I believe that she was able to kind of pick the pace back up and not let that gap grow any bigger. So she had kind of line of sight on Cole and kind of keeping him in sight and then staying at that same pace. And but unfortunately, Uncle Max Max was having a hard time and he was falling off. And then I think he decided, like, I'm not going to go to the well and crush myself. Let me just like coast home for the rest of the way and just enjoy the marathon. So I think he made that conscious decision. And then Evan is still kind of in the middle, like, should I fight or should I not, or kind of thing. And I think she decided to kind of semi try hard towards the end. And then she, I asked her specifically to get to mile 18 before she made any kind of decision. Like, no matter what, every thought that goes through her mind has to be, how many miles until mile 18? How many miles until mile 18? Never put it into the context of 26. If you're at mile 10 and you're struggling and you have to go to 26, that's 16 more miles. But if you're at mile 10 and you have to go to mile 18, then it's only an 8-mile recovery run. So I think that no matter how you package or repackage it, it always looks better if you try to get yourself to mile 18. And so I asked her to block everything out of her mind and just get to mile 18. And she was able to do that. Like typically, Evan gives up at mile 10, and then we have to have a talk. It doesn't matter if she's run 15, 18, 20, 22 miles, 15, 20 times before the marathon. At mile 10, she typically has trouble. It's just hard to get have your mind wrap itself around this idea of, you've just spent, more than an hour out running, and now you have to spend 2 more hours running, and it's just hard to wrap your mind around. But she did it. She was able to get through that on her own without me being there, and I'm so freaking proud of her. And then she got to about 18. She went right through that. She said it was a breeze. I'm pretty sure that slowing down a little bit helped a ton, because now she's running in the 7:15s, the 7:20s, which is her getting closer to her easy pace. Still at steady state for her, but getting closer to easy pace. And then we go to about mile 21, mile 22, and that's when Evan's feeling like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, this is really hard. But I think by that point, she only has a 5K remaining, and she's thinking like, oh, like, it's just a 5K. It's just 20 minutes. And then she started like breaking it down and breaking down the 5K, breaking down the 20 minutes, breaking down the remaining miles, breaking down, she just kept on doing mental math in smaller and smaller increments, and until she was able to get to the final 800 meters, 400 meters, 200 meters, and then to the finish line. So did super, super great. I still just can't believe how well both of them did. Evan with a 3:10, Cole with a 3:05. I can't believe how well they did without me being there. Like, it's every single race, whether it's a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, or a marathon, I've always been there beside Evan. And the one marathon that I didn't go with her, I decided to meet her at every 3 or 4 miles on the course, and she ended up DNFing that at mile 19. So I didn't know what to think. I knew that she was super, super fit, but it's not a question of being physically fit for the marathon. That's probably half of it. I think the other half is how mentally strong you are, and that was a question mark, and she answered that pretty well, I think. I'm really impressed. Both of them are my heroes. Cole was able to finish in 3:05 and in 10th place out of all male 19 and under. I thought that was impressive because I'm pretty sure that almost all those athletes were close to 19, 18, 17 years old. And he's just a high school kid running, jogging, whatever you want to call it, a full marathon. And he did super well getting in 10th place. Evan in females 19 and under placed first. And I went through the list, and there was one other child who was young. I think she was 11 or 12, and she was more of a hobby jogger. So she finished close to 6 hours. But everybody else was 17, 18, 19 years old, and she hung tough with them. There weren't a lot of high achiever athletes in the 19 and under range. For example, there weren't a lot of people under 330. I would say maybe around 10 or so. And so, yeah, I think that there's an issue with female in marathoning, that standards are set at a point where female runners aim to only to those standards, and they end up not running to what I believe are their potential. I believe that the separation between the elite females and elite males is very, very small, and it should be so for average people too. And I believe that in long distance running, long distance is the equalizer, where in shorter distances there might be more separation. In longer distances, you see men and women running more equally. And I believe since the standards are so low, women end up kind of shooting only for those standards and then end up not really performing to their own potential. I was sorely disappointed when I went to Boston, and I went to the Athletes Village, and there were hardly any women in the first corral, in the corral A. And I think, like, because I have so many female friends who are just strong athletes, just absolute beasts when we go out there, strong-minded, strong-willed, physically strong, and it's disappointing to go to an event like the Boston Marathon and not see more of those strong athletes in Corral A, where I believe they should belong. So that's enough of that soapbox. But CIM, they get to the finish line, and swag was awesome. Like, when you go to the expo, all you get is a shirt and a bib. That's it. There's nothing else. There is no other swag. But when you finish, you walk through, and instead of giving you disposable plastic bottles of water, you get your water, an official CIM bottle. And they're really nice. They look really great. They have the logo on there, and they fill that up with water. And then you can refill that with some kind of electrolyte solution if you want. But I really like that idea of kind of limiting waste and being a little bit greener, and also kind of finishing the marathon with more swag. So you get your bottle then, and you also get, every year they have some kind of shell. And the shell has some kind of like recycled material that is like not really like finished fabric, but it can protect you from the wind and protect you from some moisture, but like a poncho kind of thing. But they usually have a zipper, so the shell feels more like something you could wear and less like a rain poncho. But this year they gave, for the 40th anniversary, they gave all the participants windbreaker jackets, which I thought was awesome, and they look fantastic. And so you'll see this on this morning's video. Evan was wearing that CIM jacket, and they also, because it was the 40th anniversary, they also gave away backpacks, and the backpacks have like this giant ASICS logo on the back. It looks cool. This CIM 40-year anniversary logo on the back, and it just looks fantastic. And I saw people coming out of the hotel with that bag completely full and packed, and when it was like nice and full and on their back, it looked just absolutely awesome. They did a great job with that, and making that piece of memorabilia like just impactful and striking and just high quality. That was like super, super nice swag. And finally, the medal, the race medal, is just like one of the thickest, heaviest medals that I've ever seen. It was pretty nice. I think that this year CIM went all out because it's the 40th anniversary, and they wanted to make sure that people remembered, and they took home items that would help them remember. And I think mission was accomplished there. Good job, CIM, on that. And then you go through and you get your normal fare, post-race fare, packaged foods to eat, some unpackaged like fruits and things like that to eat, plenty of hydration from noon and water. And yeah, they were really well taken care of. I think BPN had a bunch of stuff that they gave out as well. Actually, like, I'm not a huge BPN fan. Like, that's not like my thing, like this hybrid kind of athlete lifestyle. But I tried some of their stuff and it was actually pretty good. Like, out of all like the bars and stuff, they have something called a Go Bar. And I usually despise those energy bars and protein bars and things like that. But this was actually quite good. It's like something that I feel like I would make at home and eat it. And if that, it had that feel. So good job to BPN on that. It was a big surprise, I have to admit. But I have to also admit when something is good. So yeah, really well done with that. And another CIM in the books. This is the second year in a row that Max and I went to CIM together, and it was a blast. I will never forget this one, being death on my deathbed, or I thought I was on my deathbed, and not be able to run. This is a new experience for me, like going to a marathon and not running it at all. But another run of bad luck for me at CIM. However, I do have no hate for CIM. I love me some CIM. I really want to go back next year. It's too bad that New York is going to be a competition between deciding between New York and CIM next year. I'm still undecided. I really want to go back. I really want to run a fast marathon there. We'll see what happens in LA. I'm going to go to LA. I'm running, like, this was supposed to be like for winter and spring. This is supposed to be like 5 or 6 marathons for me, going from winter to spring. But I'm going to run all these marathons. I'm going to be pacing the kids. I'm going to be pacing friends. I'm going to be I applied to be an official pacer at OC Marathon. But I'm going to make LA Marathon my marathon. I'm going to train for the LA Marathon to go as fast as I can go, whether that is 2:58 or 2:55 or 2:51 or 2:48, whatever it is. I'm going to go to LA and pour my heart and soul into it. And I know that I'm going to do the videography for it as well. This video, this race vlog will be more centered on me, and it'll be much easier to do the videography for myself. When I pace other people and I do videography for others, it's much harder to finish the course with camera. But still, it's hard to finish the course. It's hard to finish a full marathon with a camera. So I'm going to keep practicing. I'm going to keep doing all my runs with this camera. I'm going to try to do a larger proportion of my runs with the camera extended so that I can get stronger. It's much harder to run with the camera extended and or extended on a stick. And I'll do my best to run my fastest race at the LA Marathon. This has been a super, super long race recap. It wasn't even my race. I really, really want to throw a giant shout out to Cole and Evan for providing all the details for this race recap, since I was not able to join them during the race. Big giant shout out to my friend John Tynan to helping to organize and get things moving during the shakeout and prior to the marathon. Shout out to my friends Alvin and Aaron for all the support and providing a little bit of footage here and there that we greatly appreciated. Shout out to my good friend Eric Floberg for making us feel so welcome and important during the shakeout, and making us feel like a part of the running online community. Just like, you don't know how uncomfortable it is to do this and kind of know your place, but he provided a place for us, and we really appreciate that. And a tremendous gratitude to my friend Max. I can't put it in words because he's best uncle, really good brother. Can't do anything without you, Max. And in my time of need, my biggest time of need, and I am just laid out flat. You were there for the kids, and that means that you were there for me, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And of course, I can't end this race vlog without saying thank you to all of you. You guys are the reason why we can do this. You're the reason why we do this, and we get so much energy and encouragement and support from all of the views, all of the comments, all of the in real life support, whether they're cheers or coming out to runs, and just being a part of this community has been such a great experience for me in this very, very short time since March. And I appreciate it so much. And I'm really grateful and thankful that I'm on this journey, and I look forward to the next steps in it, and so do the kids. Every day has been a new adventure, and can't wait for more. And all I have to say is have a great day and a meaningful run. And we'll see you in the next one. All right, bye now. And like this video, help out the algorithm, and hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel a ton.
This is Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, nice to meet you, Aaron.
I'm on the bottom of all of your run club, all the low mileage people. That's me. I watch all your all y'all's regiments. I'm like, that's a week's work in one day for me.
Thanks for being in the run club.
Yeah. I enjoy watching.
Yo, what's going on?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. This is my daughter, Evan.
Hey, you gonna run with us today? All right. Hard again.
Yes, please. Hey, everybody get in there. You ready?
Hey, all heart. Let's go.
All right.
So that's like pretty smart.